There's a man who shows up every Tuesday at 4 a.m. He doesn't look like much. Drives an old, clean Ford pickup. Wears the same canvas jacket. Sips coffee from a thermos. In the crowded, loud, stinking warehouse of the regional poultry exchange, he is a ghost. A figure nobody notices, nobody remembers, and nobody considers a threat. The big players, the guys with the branded hats and the expensive trucks, the ones who laugh too loud and bid with their egos, they see him as part of the furniture. Just another small-timer trying to scratch out a living in the brutal, razor-thin margin world of wholesale chicken. What they don't know, what they couldn't possibly understand, is that this quiet man in the corner has been studying them. Not the chickens, them, their patterns, their tells, their desperation. And while they've been fighting over feathers and fillets, he's been executing a plan so psychologically devastating, so strategically airtight, that it wouldn't just make him rich. It would collapse the very market they were standing in. He planned this from the first second. Let's understand the world he walked into. The wholesale poultry auction. It's not the stock exchange. It's louder, smellier, and infinitely more primal. This is where millions of pounds of chicken whole birds, parts, offcuts change hands every week. Restaurants, supermarkets, processors, they all need supply. And this warehouse is where the price is set. It's a pure commodity market. A chicken breast is a chicken breast. A wing is a wing. There is, supposedly, no difference. So the game, as everyone plays it, is simple. Buy for the lowest possible price. Sell for a few cents more per pound, and survive on volume. It's a race to the bottom. A brutal, grinding, red-faced competition where men screen themselves hoarse over a quarter-cent per pound. The margins are so thin you can see through them. One bad buy, one missed sale, and a week's profit evaporates. The entire industry is trapped in this mindset. It's all they know. They are conditioned to see only one thing, the price on the board. They believe the winner is the one who gets the cheapest stock. This belief is about to become their coffin. Meet the community. There's Mike, who's been in the game for 20 years. He's got a gut from too many stress hot dogs and eyes permanently narrowed from staring at price sheets. He bids with anger, with pride. Losing a lot to a rival feels like a personal insult. Then there's the young guys, the aggressive newcomers. They think this game is about being the loudest, the fastest, the most willing to take a risk. They over-leverage, buy huge lots on credit, and pray the market doesn't dip before they can offload. And there are the groups, the cliques who whisper in corners, trying to form shaky alliances to corner a particular lot. Alliances that always shatter the moment real money is on the line. This is a world fueled by ego, insecurity, and a desperate, sweating need to look like a winner. They are all staring at the same numbers, fighting over the same product, trapped in the same mental prison. They are perfect prey. And then there's him. Let's call him Leo. Leo doesn't have a gut. He's lean, calm. His eyes aren't narrowed. They're wide, absorbing. He doesn't stare at the price board. He watches the room. For the first year, he barely bid at all. He just attended. He learned the rhythms. He saw that lot number 22, the mixed parts and offcuts, always caused confusion. It was a messy lot backs, necks, frames, some wings tangled in. The big players, wanting only clean breast meat or thighs, viewed it as garbage. They'd bid lethargically or skip it entirely. It went for pennies. He saw that after a major holiday, like the 4th of July, there was always a glut of overstock whole birds, perfectly good product that suppliers needed to dump fast before the next cycle. The commodity buyers, already stuffed with inventory, would bid weekly, driving the price absurdly low. Leo saw these things not as garbage or problems, but as silent, screaming opportunities. While others saw product, he saw psychology. While others saw price, he saw patterns. Here was the hidden opportunity, invisible because it was buried in plain sight. The commodity market was a war of attrition. But what if there was another market entirely? What if those undervalued lots, the mixed parts, the holiday overstock, the out-of-spec birds that were slightly smaller weren't commodities at all? What if, with the right system, you could transform them into premium products? The big players failed because of a psychological trap, the fallacy of composition. They believed that because the market treated something as low value, it inherently was low value. Their thinking was constrained by the auction board itself. Leo's mind was not. He asked a different question. Not, how do I win this bid? But what can this become? And who would pay more for that? His internal analysis was cold, surgical. The math was simple, yet nobody did it. A mixed parts lot purchased for 30 cents a pound. The big guys would try to resell it as is for 35 cents, battling 10 other guys doing the same. A profit of 5 cents, minus handling, a nightmare. But Leo calculated differently. If he could separate, clean, and portion those parts turning frames into stock bases, trimming necks for specialty soups, packaging wings separately, he could sell not as a commodity, but as prepared ingredients to different higher-margin buyers, boutique soup companies, Asian restaurants, bar food suppliers. These buyers hated the auction's volatility and inconsistency. They would pay a 50% premium, sometimes double, for reliable, ready-to-use product. The undervalued stock was his raw material. The real value wasn't in the chicken. It was in the transformation and the guaranteed supply. He would build a system to bridge that gap. Asterisk Phase 1, Invisibility. Leo began to bid, but strategically. He never fought for the prime lots, the beautiful breast fillets everyone craved. He'd let Mike and the young guns have their bloody, expensive victories. Instead, he'd wait. When lot number 22, the mixed bag, came up, he'd give a small, almost apologetic nod. The others would smirk. Let the scavenger have the scraps. When the holiday overstock flooded in, he'd quietly take massive volumes at shocking discounts. They saw a man buying garbage in bulk. A fool. They dismissed him completely. This was the genius of the first move. By positioning himself as harmless, as a bottom feeder, he removed all competitive pressure. He was buying the most lucrative material at the lowest possible prices because he was bidding against no one. His perceived weakness was his ultimate strength. He was building a mountain, and they were handing him the bricks for free. Phase 2, the secret system. While his rivals spent their days in the auction house screaming, Leo spent his days building a small, impeccable processing operation. He didn't need a giant factory. He needed a clean, efficient space with the right equipment. Precise bandsaws, industrial stock pots, flash freezers. He hired not commodity meat workers, but a few meticulous butchers and a food scientist. He developed proprietary methods. Those out-of-spec smaller birds, perfect for upscale Cornish hen-style portions for fancy gastropubs. The backs and frames, roasted, then simmered into a rich, gelatinous stock base he could reduce and freeze into cubes, a product sold at a premium to high-end chefs. The wings, brined, par-fried, and frozen in restaurant-ready batches for sports bars. He wasn't selling chicken. He was selling solutions, convenience, consistency, quality. His costs were locked in at those auction floor. Nobody wants this prices. His selling prices were in a different universe. His margins weren't thin. They were massive, hidden, and defensible. No commodity trader could replicate this because they lacked the system, the patience, and most of all, the vision. Got Phase 3, the market shift. With his product line perfected and a growing list of loyal, premium clients who loved his reliability, Leo began to scale. But he didn't just scale his output. He scaled his influence. He started showing up at trade shows not for poultry, but for gourmet foods and restaurant supply. His brand, subtle and professional, spoke of quality and chef's grade ingredients. He created catalogs. He built relationships with distributors who serviced the premium market. Meanwhile, back at the Tuesday auction, his presence became a ghostly constant. He still took his mixed lots and overstock, but now he began to do something else, something barely perceptible. On the prime lots, the ones his rivals lived and died for, he would occasionally, and very selectively, bid, not to win, but to inflate. This is the Mastermind twist. The real play was never just about building a premium business on the side. That was just one arm of the machine. The other arm was now reaching back into the commodity market he seemed to have abandoned. Leo, with his immense and hidden cash flow from his premium operation, had war chest reserves his rivals could only dream of. He understood their psychology perfectly. They were ego-driven, volume-obsessed, and financially brittle. So, he would use his capital as a weapon. When he saw Mike in a heated bidding war with a young gun over a prime lot of breasts, Leo would wait until the very last moment, then enter a single sharp, authoritative bid, just high enough to push the final price into painful territory. He never won these lots. He didn't want them. He wanted Mike to win them, but at a price that obliterated his margin. He wanted the young gun, furious at losing, to overpay wildly on the next lot out of spite. Leo was no longer just a participant in the auction. He was its puppet master. He was systematically injecting volatility and pain into the very market his competitors depended on for survival. Every cent they overpaid was a cent of strength bleeding from their business, and a cent of advantage flowing to his. He was draining them, slowly, methodically, while they fought each other for the privilege of being bled. The shock moment arrived, not with a bang, but with a slow, sickening realization. Mike found himself holding massive amounts of overpriced breast meat. He couldn't move because a new chain restaurant had just signed an exclusive contract with a reliable premium supplier they'd found at a gourmet show. The Young Guns Company, over-leveraged from months of ego bidding, missed a debt payment. His line of credit was called. He was finished. The auction floor, once packed with fierce competitors, began to thin. Bankruptcies were whispered about. And through it all, like a ghost, Leo remained. Still in his canvas jacket. Still sipping his thermos. Still buying the undervalued lots at rock-bottom prices. Because now, with fewer players and a demoralized market, they were even cheaper. And still, occasionally, placing a single, precise, ruinous bid on a prime lot to keep the remaining rivals off balance and unprofitable. They looked at him now, not with dismissal, but with a dawning, horrifying confusion. The scavenger was the only one who seemed to be thriving. The market was collapsing around them, and he was standing calmly in the eye of the storm, wealthier by the week. The game was over, and they had lost without ever understanding the rules. The millionaire ending is silent. Leo never bought a flashy truck. He bought a small, pristine farm upstate. He owns the most efficient, profitable specialty poultry operation in the region, servicing the top tier of the food industry. His former rivals are gone, broke, or back working for someone else, still bewildered by what happened. He never broke a rule. He never colluded, never mislabeled a product. He simply saw the board differently. He understood that in a game where everyone is fighting to be the king of the commodity hill, the real power lies in owning the quiet, fertile valley next door, and secretly selling the shovels to the hill fighters at an ever-increasing price. The psychological power lesson is this. Leo won through a form of strategic dissociation. He was emotionally detached from the daily battle that consumed everyone else. His power came from cold silence. he never revealed his hand or his satisfaction. From patience, he spent a year just learning before making a major move. From deep calculations, he ran numbers nobody else bothered with. From reading people, he mapped the ego and fear in that room like a surgeon maps anatomy. From master timing, he knew exactly when to apply pressure and when to vanish. His confidence never needed to talk. It just was. His rivals lost to the mirror images of those virtues. Greed for quick wins, ego that needed public validation, overconfidence in a broken model, jealousy of each other, laziness of thought that accepted the market's rules as law, and blindness to the opportunities that existed outside the narrow frame of their perception. So, which person are you right now? Are you in the warehouse, red-faced, screaming over a quarter-cent per pound, convinced that the only way to win is to be louder, faster, and more aggressive in a game designed to grind you down? Or are you the quiet observer, notebook out, thermos in hand, looking not at the product, but at the players, searching for the hidden leverage, the undiscovered market, the system that turns their garbage into your gold? The pattern doesn't just exist in a chicken auction. It exists in your industry, in your market, in your life. The question is, are you trapped inside the frame, or are you the one who sees the canvas for what it truly is? Remember the man in the canvas jacket. He planned this from the first second.